For this question, we want to use the properties of logarithms to rewrite the expression as a single logarithm. Wherever possible, evaluate logarithmic expressions. The expression that we have is natural log square root x minus 1/3 natural log x plus natural log 4th root of x. So what we want to do is rewrite the expression as a single logarithm, and I like to call this condensing. You are condensing to a single logarithm. And there are 3 properties that we're going to use to do this, and these properties are called the product rule, the quotient rule, and the power rule. Now, you can read these properties going both ways, from left to right and also from right to left. And in this example, we are taking multiple logarithms and condensing it to a single logarithm. So we're going to be starting with an expression like the right-hand side and condensing it to the expression that we have on the left. And the same thing goes with the quotient rule. We start with something like we have on the left and condense it to what we start with what we have on the right and we condense it to what we have on the left. And we'll also be taking this power rule, what we see on the right, and condensing it to what we have on the left. With this example, we're going to start with the power rule because I want you to notice in the expressions for the product rule and the expression for the quotient rule, there are no coefficients that are on the logs for those properties. And we have a coefficient on this log right here. So right now we are not able to use the product or the quotient rule because of that coefficient. So what we have to do is we have to take this coefficient and we're going to move it into the power using this power rule for logarithms. So our first move is to rewrite this as natural log x to the 1/3 power. So I'm taking that 1/3 and I'm moving it into the power. So now I've used the power rule and none of the logs have coefficients. I also notice that all of these logs are written as ln, that stands for natural log, and that means they all have the same base of e. That's another important feature of these properties, that we can only do them when the bases are the same. So I want you to notice both of these have the same b. You must have the same base in order to use these product and quotient rule for logarithms. All of these are natural log. All of them have base e, so we will be able to condense them to a single log. So we're going to condense them to the natural log. And with the product rule says if you have addition, you're going to multiply. The quotient rule says if you have subtraction, you're going to divide. We have both addition and subtraction, so we're going to do both the product rule and the quotient rule at the same time. So this first log that I see here is positive, so I'm going to take this factor of square root of x, and it goes in the numerator. The second log is negative. You can see the negative sign right here. So using the quotient rule, that x to the 1/3 power should be in the denominator. And this final log here is positive, so its factor of 4th root of x will be multiplied in the numerator. So we've now condensed this to a single log using both the product and the quotient rule. Now I need to go a step further because all of these have an x in them. And so that means I should be able to simplify this expression more. What I know is that the square root of x is the same thing as x to the 1/2 power. The fourth root of x is the same thing as x to the 1/4 power. And then we have x to the 1/3 power in the denominator. There are some properties of exponents called the product rule and the quotient rule for exponents that tell us the following. So with the product rule for exponents, it says that if you have a base to a power multiplied by the same base to a power, you can simplify by adding the powers together. And then the quotient rule says that if you have something with a base to a power divided by that base to a power, then you can subtract the exponents. I'm hoping you see parallels between these rules because they are actually related to each other. We have multiplication with addition, multiplication with addition, division with subtraction, division with subtraction. So they are very much parallel rules. So inside of this log, we have the same base of x. So we're going to be able to combine those together with the product and quotient rule for exponents. So I'm going to have that same base, and we're going to do 1/2 plus 1/4 minus 1/3. So I add these two together because they're multiplied, and I'm going to subtract this one because it's divided. So on the side here, I'm going to do 1/2 plus 1/4 minus 1/3. There is a common denominator of 12, so I'm going to multiply this one by 6/6, this one by 3/3, and this one by 4/4. That gives me 6/12 plus 3/12 minus 4/12. 6 plus 3 is 9, minus 4 is 5. That's 5/12. So this simplifies to be natural log of x to the 5/12. Thank you for checking out my videos. Have a great day.